Big changes are on the horizon for gamers everywhere. On Monday, Microsoft announced that it was planning to buy ZeniMax Media for just shy of $8 billion. To say this deal is a blockbuster would be an understatement. ZeniMax is the parent company of Bethesda Softworks, along with a whole bevy of other studios. This really tips the scales in Microsoft's favor moving forward. But beyond the immediately apparent effects, what does this acquisition mean for the gaming world as a whole? Hello fellow friends and philosophers, and welcome back to the most mind-bending channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your voice in the void, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the following question. What does Microsoft buying Bethesda mean for the gaming world? Make sure to check out our biggest debated questions playlist for more earth-shattering issues. Wicked, let's get started. With this deal going through, a lot of studios and IPs are going to be transferred under Microsoft's control. Soon, Microsoft will preside over Bethesda, id Software, Arcane Studios, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Games, and more. It bumps their in-house game development studio count from 15 to 23. That's a lot of gaming output from a lot of companies, to say the least. The IPs from these studios include The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, and many more. A lot of these games have defined the past couple console generations, and the next games in their series have a lot of fans waiting for more. Right out the gate, this is big news for Microsoft, and especially Xbox. All of a sudden, there are a bunch of new IPs where there weren't before. They don't need to rely on Halo and Forza as their only major IPs. Now there are all sorts of Bethesda games that can fill out the release schedule. A lot of folks have to be wondering at this point, what does that mean for series that have been multi-platform releases for years? Will Elder Scrolls and Doom games become Xbox exclusives? Well, it's hard to say. You'd have to wonder about that because so many people want to play these games. If someone purchased a PlayStation 5 and then saw that these games were going to be Xbox exclusive, would they jump ship and snag a Series S? Well, maybe not so likely. In fact, they might just wait a little bit, play some of their own console exclusives, and see if these blockbuster titles end up going cross-platform. However, Microsoft really can leverage a lot of financial power with a deal like this. By acquiring ZeniMax and all of its subsidiaries, there are a bunch of brand new games to add to their Xbox Game Pass. This is another recent major move from Microsoft in an attempt to sway consumers during the upcoming console generation. The Xbox Game Pass is a monthly subscription service that'll allow Xbox gamers to play online, use their cloud gaming service, and most importantly, give them access to hundreds of games at no additional charge. That's right, for something like $15 a month, you'll get unlimited access to over 200 games across multiple generations of Xbox. Wow. The Bethesda deal means that all sorts of Bethesda titles will likely be added to Game Pass, and at the moment, Sony doesn't really have an answer for this. All these big moves are hard to keep up with. Even though Sony has a lot of their own top quality in-house studios, they don't have anything like Game Pass at the moment. Game Pass subscriptions have jumped way up over the past little while and now number around 15 million. The additional of some AAA games will probably convince more folks to give it a try too. Add in PC compatibility when you purchase the Game Pass Ultimate, and you can add a bunch of new customers who weren't necessarily planning on buying an Xbox. It's easy to forget sometimes, but Microsoft is essentially a software company. Owning Windows OS means that they make money off of PC gamers anyways, so providing them with the Game Pass as well is a big move. With this in mind, there are a fair deal of concerns that come up for gamers. Moving forward, it's likely that services like Game Pass will become the new norm. Owning physical games, while nice and it guarantees that nobody can limit your access to a game you've purchased, might become a thing of the past. We've already seen Sony greenlight a totally discless version of the PS5, and with Game Pass it seems as though gamers will be moving more digital than ever. It might make gaming function similarly to streaming services. The subscription-based model could possibly take over, following in Netflix's footsteps. By having so many big-name studios working under one umbrella with a lot of high firepower IPs, it's possible that Xbox could have more offerings for the subscribers more often than they would if they were publishing games independently. Imagine having a new big-name game every month and not having to pay extra for it. Sure, it limits the choices you have if you don't want to spend extra, but it also provides a steady stream of new content without asking consumers to possibly pass over one experience to save up money for another. This does raise questions of quality versus quantity though, and if the high quality offerings aren't provided often enough, folks might have second thoughts. But it seems as though that is the direction Xbox is trying to push gaming towards. What do you think about having a streaming style approach to gaming? Sound off down in the comments. Back to the actual acquisition though, consider this. What if they don't go totally exclusive? What if Microsoft decides that all the IPs that were once cross-platform should stay that way? They could boost sales, and any PS5 sales of the games they own would bring profit to both companies. Interesting idea, right? It could also usher in a new era of cross-platform cooperation. If the games are owned by Microsoft but are getting published on both consoles anyway, why not provide cross-platform support? It would be an interesting experiment to say the least. Now, if the subscription-based model does not end up coming to fruition, it's doubtful that Game Pass would be available on the PS5 and vice versa if Sony comes up with their own idea. So competition might still exist based on the quality of offerings in either console. But right now, if you're a PC gamer, Xbox is definitely taking the lead on attracting non-console customers. And then there's Nintendo. They're just doing Nintendo stuff mostly. Good for them. Boom! There are plenty of implications that arise following this Major League purchase. Xbox seems to be looking to pad their Game Pass offerings and prove that they can throw their weight around big time. Sony doesn't look like it has an answer quite yet, but they still may release some information. PC gamers are likely to largely benefit from Xbox's new studios developing under Microsoft, and streaming platform-style game access might be the next big thing. What do you think of all this? Did Microsoft make the right move? Will this benefit gaming as a whole, or will it create the kind of monopoly that hurts quality? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more interesting ones. From, is the PlayStation 5 better than the Xbox Series X? It's Aztec says both? Both. Both is good. That seems to be the most reliable, reasonable answer these days. Moving forward, it'll be interesting to see innovations arise from each. Professor Finance, Journal of Financial Freedom, says been with Sony the past 20 years, so won't be switching unless there's a drastic change. Well, does this count as a drastic change? Bethesda's a pretty big name by my count. Skopesic says, I'm probably gonna get a PS5, but console warring is stupid. They're both good in their own ways. True, but when has something being stupid ever stopped folks on the internet from doing it anyways? DriftyBoy458 says, that's it, I'm gonna buy both. Sounds like fun. Tell your wallet I'm sorry though. The Gamer Kid TGK says, hey, I have a question. What if the War of the Worlds happened? There's alien that have tripod that tases people. We'd have to hope it was actually just a really convincing radio play. Otherwise, we're probably cooked. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I count all the polygons in Unreal Engine 5, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more demolition and destruction. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.